Welcome to Girl Talk with your host, Melissa Ann. Girl Talk is that show which discusses the real issues Black women face being a mom, a dad, a wife, a girlfriend, a sister, a co-worker, a therapist, or whatever hat Black women wear on any particular day. Why? Because Black women are just dope. Without further ado, here is your host, Melissa Ann.
Welcome to Girl Talk with Girl Melissa Ann. Listen, we have a new conversation coming up for you tonight, and we are excited. Listen, I have a new sidekick with me that is going to be a staple on our show. She's already giggling about the conversations that we are going to prepare to have for you. And we certainly feel like we're going to cut up during these conversations. But remember, they're all conversations that are geared towards Black women, our audience. So, Cassandra, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I'm Cassandra, aka CJ, aka Mom, aka probably some other names that I can't even say up here. But
Not you.
I'm sure. I'm not naive enough to think that people don't call me names outside of my name.
No, we have to fight them because you are way too sweet for all of that, honey.
My children would disagree.
Well, your dog wouldn't. That's all up on you.
Yeah, he's laying on my feet right now. No, he will probably disagree at times too. But my best friend has said, for as sweet and loving and kind as I am, I can be equally as mean. And whenever that side is tapped, she is not wrong. So,
well, we talked about that, right? Because you're a Scorpio and I'm a Gemini. And and y'all are just as bad as Geminis. Like, Geminis get a bad rap, but Scorpios are probably as bad as Geminis, if not worse, in my opinion.
If not worse, yeah. I've heard we can be. Look, I've heard we can be pretty bad. So, I've had
heard
someone.
you.
Yeah, I've had someone say it this way, particularly just using me and my personality and how I am. They referred to it as nice nasty, right? So they said they were cut, and the cut was so smooth they didn't even realize they were cut until they looked down and it was bleeding. So,
dang.
But what I will say is this: I'm never an instigator of the cut. It usually is, comes from having been provoked. So,
well, that's how Geminis feel.
Oh,
you ever dated Gemini?
I have not. I have good friends that are Geminis, though. So most of the Geminis in my life are female, and Scorpios and Geminis actually make decent friends. We make really good friends.
Yeah, at us, you and I.
Yeah,
you
right.
Get me.
Absolutely.
You get me.
And I think about that dynamic too. And again, speaking from my own personal experience with my Gemini friends, is I don't trip when the other side is shown.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I understand that, just like I have two very different sides. So I don't trip when somebody else shows me another side of themselves.
You said the Gemini has another side. When my daughter said we're schizophrenic, here's the net. If you do what we ask, you won't have any problems.
Hello?
It's when you do what we ask, there isn't a problem. It's when you go against the grain and then the other side has to come out, that side raises up.
I think that's true of many Scorpios as well. October Scorpios for sure. I think some November Scorpios can be pretty mean.
Yeah. But listen, so I had a question for you. Do you have an air fryer?
I do, actually. Yes, I do.
How do you use your air fryer? Like, do you are you really actively using it? I had one, and I really loved my air fryer.
Yeah. So when I first got it, I used it all the time, and then it sat there for a while. And my daughter went away and came back, and she was like, "Oh, we should warm this up in the air fryer. We should do this in the air fryer." So now we use it a whole lot more than I did a year ago, right? So let's say you order something from a place that's fast food, or maybe not fast food, but they have fries, and the fries are not hot anymore. You throw them in the air fryer for a few minutes, like 3, and it gives a better taste than if you try to microwave them. We definitely use our air fryer like that. And then there are some things that are just good in the air fryer. So shrimp in the air fryer, amazing.
I had an air fryer. I'm gonna say I love my air fryer. I was getting used to using that air fryer, and I had a pretty cool air fryer. Like, that air fryer did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Many things that I didn't even use, like making yogurt and stuff like that. I didn't understand the concept. But I utilized that air fryer, and then one day, whoop, it stopped working. So it was too late to return it to the store. So I called the manufacturer. Manufacturer is like, what's the issue? So I'm telling them the issue. I had to send a video of the issue. And they're like, oh, cool, okay. Well, you're within the warranty. So what we need you to do is cut the cord and send us a picture of you cutting the cord.
Okay.
Or video. So I videoed it, cutting the cord, and sent over. It took them about 2 weeks to respond, but you was responding all the time before. Now I cut the stupid cord, you're not responding. So I'm sending messages like, something's supposed to happen, or
right.
And finally, another 2 weeks later, they responded and said, yeah, we can't, we don't have that unit.
Stop!
You cannot make this stuff.
Stop it! Oh, by the way, you don't have this. Okay, so in all the conversations the week before, they didn't think to, hey, send me a picture of it before we tell you to cut the cord.
Right.
Wow.
They asked for the serial number and everything, so you knew whether or not you were going to have it. I mean, either way, I couldn't use it, but you thought that I was scamming you, and then you don't even have the freaking unit.
That's crazy. Yeah, because the purpose of you cutting the cord was what?
So that if they were to send me another one, I wouldn't have 2, is what I'm assuming.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm assuming. But it was broken. I'm not scamming you for an air fryer.
That's crazy. Oh yeah,
ridiculous.
By the way, you don't even have this one.
Right. Now I'm sitting with the air fryer with the cord on the 2 pieces of cord. I finally just chucked it in the garbage.
I don't blame you.
It was nice decoration on my counter. Now it's just an empty space.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is a little sad. A little empty
It
space.
is. It's like, because I'm thinking about, mine is, it's a space holder on the counter for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? That actually transitions us into our topic for tonight, because we're talking about Black Women Diaries. We're going to have a 3-part series on 3 different topics, and tonight's topic is going to be separation anxiety, but the separation anxiety that we may go through when our children go off to college, or they get married, or they leave the nest because they're grown folks and they have their own apartments and they have their own little lives, and here we are sitting there on a tree, KISSIE.
Or CRY.
So you are an empty nester as of recently. What did you go through?
Well, so oddly enough, I became an empty nester, air quotes empty nester, because my oldest son does technically live here and pay rent here, but I never see him. So my youngest son went away to school last year, 2020. Yeah, so it was September of 2020. But it was a short school year, right? So they didn't go till maybe the middle of September, and then he was home by Thanksgiving, and from Thanksgiving to January he was home, right? Because they cut the semester, like they went straight through, no breaks, no nothing, just start class in September. By Thanksgiving, final exams are done, you're home until January. So during that adjustment period, by the time I could adjust, then he was back, and he was home for a while and then was away. And again, the semester was short, so went back to school mid-January last year of 2021. And by April of 2021, he was home again. So now this school year has been the first year where he's really been away. So he went away to school in August and he was gone until he did come home briefly for Thanksgiving. That's another story.
Well, did you cry, girl? Did you cry?
Not then, no. Oddly enough, the tears just came Tuesday.
Okay. So he been gone a whole year, and now all of a sudden you cry. Okay.
So I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm working. And so the son that's gone is an introvert. So he's very opposite me and my older son. So he's an introvert, but he has a very big presence. And I don't know how to explain it other than when he first left, his absence was loud. So for whatever reason on Tuesday, the Tuesday of this week that we're in right now, I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm working and I just felt his absence. I really missed him to the point that there were real adult tears coming down my face.
I'm not laughing at you. I mean, I'm a little confused. That's all. It's just that
it took so long.
It took a year. Like I did have a mourning process that lasted a year, but I did not wait a whole year to go to mourn because by that year, your son, and maybe you can shed some light on this, he has forgotten you.
And I think that's part of it, right? So when he went away, I think about me and my sophomore year, right? So when I came home from college, the summer of my freshman year, which is the summer he just finished, that was the last time that my mom's address was also my address. Because when I went back to school my sophomore year, I never came back home to call my home address my address, right? I started my own life apart from my hometown, from that. And so this year when he went to school, he was telling me things like, oh, Mom, I found a church home. Like he's doing things that signify he is finding a life apart from this life that's here in Raleigh. And so for whatever reason, it just hit me on Tuesday. Oh my gosh, he's grown up to the point that I texted my mom and I was like, hey, do you realize that one day it just hits you that your baby is all grown up? And I'm like, I'm guessing you went through that, huh? And so she sent back, yeah, what brought that all for you? And I said, I'm not sure, but it just kind of hit me today that my babies are not babies anymore. And then I sent my son a message and I said, Mama Bear is missing her bear cub.
Oh.
He sent back a heart emoji. And he said, miss you too. But I knew that Tuesdays are very busy days for him. They go way into the night because he's in jazz and stuff like that. So I didn't call or anything like that. And after I did that and laughed on the phone with my mom and laughed with you, I was better. And it was what it was. And today I'm my normal self. But for whatever reason, Tuesday, it just kind of hit that he has probably started a life that's different than this life.
I think we get, especially as single moms, like for myself, it's always been my daughter and I. And so when she did go off to college, it was like a milestone that, she and I were separate for 40 minutes apart, but, and I said 40 minutes.
Like I was holding in the laughter. I didn't want to laugh.
It wasn't like hours, miles. It was miles and miles and miles, 40 minutes. And I cried like a baby for that 40 minutes that she was where I could just jump in my car and go. But it was because I don't know if it was just, this milestone, like that there's certain things that are going to happen at college because you've been in college.
Oh, yeah.
And are they going to be able to adjust and adapt? Because now, you're the mama cub and you've let your cub get away. You're the mama bear, right. And your cub is free. And so I think there is a piece of that as single moms is just that we are so protective of
Yes.
our children, and probably overly protective, that we just don't want them to get hurt, or we don't want them to hit walls, and that's a part of it too. But yeah, I cried for them whole 40 minutes home.
So I won't even say that my kid is 10 hours away.
I mean, Boo cried too. Like, I couldn't get in my car the very next day and bring some lunch.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I mean, nevertheless, it's real, right? So that the
Right.
emotions that we're feeling, what we're going through, is very real, because it is different. It's a different dynamic, whether 40 minutes or 5 or
Yeah, it
10
is.
hours. Like, that dynamic is still the fact that at your address, that person no longer resides.
That's right. That's right. And then soon after that, I moved to a different state. So that is when the mourning process happened for me, and it is a mourning process of that separation, that empty nest feeling, that for a whole year, I cried every single day, because I wasn't 40 minutes away. I was many, many hours and miles away. And so what I was doing was literally killing myself, like going every single weekend back to the point where she's like, listen, I saw you last week. You please stop coming to visit me. And I had the nerve, my feelings was hurt.
Right.
I had the nerve to have hurt feelings.
But the truth of that is, so when we become single parents, and I think this may have been true for you, it's definitely true for me, so much of who I became and what I did was wrapped in who they are and what they did.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? So I won't say I lost me, but my identity became identified with being the mom of.
Right.
Being football mom, being soccer mom, being baseball mom, being band mom. Like, I literally have a coat right now that says band mom, and it has my name on it. And my son wears it, but that's another story altogether. But who we are in our everyday lives are so entrenched in that of our children that when that changes, they're off to a new world, exploring new and different things, but we're left kind of like, but what about all the stuff that I was doing that now I don't do? What do I do?
Right. It is.
And so that in and of itself can create its own, like, you're standing in the living room turning around in circles like, oh, I gotta go. Oh, wait, no, I don't. Wait, but we've got. Wait, no, I don't. But no, we don't. And so everything, because I remember just 3 years ago, when people would say, are you free on this day or this time? I would say, my short answer is yes, but let me check my children's calendar, because I never really knew if I was free or not. It kind of depended on whatever it was they were doing. And so now I don't have that. It's just.
Yeah, that's a different element of when you have boys and they're in sports and all those different things. It wasn't, for me, it was just me and her all the way. When I moved, she moved. So we were one entity. So when I moved, she moved. We went everywhere. We were one unit all the time.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't, when that separation came, it was because we're codependent on each other.
Gotcha.
So I think that that is a different side. You have the whole activity piece of it, and there's codependence in that as well. But I don't know. And I kind of like thought about should I join a group for empty nesters, or what should I do? But I just kind of stayed by myself for a whole year. And I don't know, did you date? Did you do anything?
Well, the good news of it all is, I mean, or bad news, I guess, depending on how you look at it, is we were in the pandemic. So, no, I didn't date last year. It was just kind of adjusting to this one, the pandemic, and then two, work, and then just realizing, oh, wait, I'm missing a kid.
Yeah. And I wonder for our listeners, how many of them are, actually can relate to some of this empty nester separation anxiety syndrome, because it is something that another thing that we as Black women just don't have conversations about.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't know if other nationalities have this conversation or not, but I know we don't get in a room as Black women. That's not the conversation we're having when you're having a sip of wine. It's usually about some relationship, some man, some something. But how are you really feeling is different from how are you doing. And we never ask,
Yes.
how are you feeling? And in
Right.
those types of situations.
And you know what? We have a mutual friend who's taught me that, right? She will always say, okay, you told me what you're doing, but how are you feeling? And I call it the F word because I never used to really deal with my feelings or my emotions until I met her. And so now, every time we meet up, we are talking about the F word, feelings. And
Right.
so that's the difference. It's just, yeah, how are you feeling? Because you can be doing and ignoring your feelings, but your feelings are very real.
And then that's when you get into the process of suppressing those feelings.
Yeah,
You
which I had
get,
done for years.
yeah, you suppress those feelings because you're doing. How you
Yeah.
doing? I'm doing fine. I got this.
Mhm.
But you're not addressing the feelings. And I think a part of that empty nest syndrome that we didn't realize, and I didn't realize this, there are, you mourn almost everything. So
Yeah.
you went through an actual stage of mourning by yourself. I know I did,
Yeah.
without having a conversation with someone on how I was feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so thankful that when that hit me on Tuesday, that I'm in a place where I recognize, oh, this is a feeling and I need to acknowledge this feeling in this moment. Whereas several years ago, I would have done exactly what you said, which is suppress it and not
Mm-hmm.
not deal with it, just kind of sweep it under the rug by finding another thing to be busy with, as
Right.
opposed to taking the time to, like, oh, this is how I'm feeling and I am feeling this, right, wrong, or indifferent, right? Because some would say, okay, but it's a whole year later, why are you feeling it now? Don't know, but I am feeling it now, and it's a justified feeling now. And so just staying in that place, allowing myself to feel those feelings, sharing with people that I felt those feelings. Because another thing is, Black women, we often don't share what we're feeling or what we're going through. We do put on the, oh, I'm fine, I'm doing good mask. So taking the moment to acknowledge the feelings and share them. And now, like, I'm pretty good today. Now, tomorrow, I might miss them again. I don't know. But as of right now, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, and I think, our next session needs to be like, you know, a tie to what you just said, really, is that because we don't talk about it, so people think we're stronger than we are.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
people that, when you look at any type of athlete that's strong, or someone that MMA fighter, people are always knocking them down, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to beat down the giant. If you look at
Right.
Andre the Giant, like, big people, they're always trying to knock down the strongest person to take their title.
Absolutely.
So that, in relation to the Black woman as being this strong woman, someone is always trying to knock you down and take your title, and we don't talk about it.
And the impact that that has on us in other areas too,
Right.
right? So we're always having to fight, bring our A game home, bring our A game to work, bring our A game wherever we are, because someone is always trying to negate or beat down the very essence of who we are, or even just trying to be, when more times than not, we're just trying to survive.
Yeah, or just do your job.
Right, right.
I don't want accolades. I don't need rewards. I just want to do my job and do it well, because I'm talented at what I do, and I want to give it to someone, or just be,
Right.
Sometimes you just want to be, and people won't just let you be. And that's not even at work. Yeah, just let me be.
Let me be, and let me be great. Why
Right.
not be it? Yeah, you're right. It's not just at work.
No, it is not. It's not at work.
Say it seems to be any place we find ourselves.
Ooh, that is the truth, Ruth. It is, and even amongst our own peeps, there's somebody. It's like we've had these conversations before. It's just like crabs in a barrel, but I think the angst really is that you already have some stuff on your shoulders. You talked about how you were feeling about your son not being in your presence. That hurt you.
Yeah.
But then you have somebody shooting darts at you at the same time. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. And never really stop to think about it that way, right? Because again, if you are injured, right? So let's use, you're in a gunfight or whatever, right? You're injured, but the people keep shooting at you. So you don't even have the time to properly attend to the wound, because you're still trying to shield yourself from being hit again.
Come on, girl.
So you're laying here with this gaping wound, or it might even be a small wound, but a wound hurts. Whether it's a huge wound or a small wound, it hurts. And so you want to attend it. But if you're us in society, we sometimes don't even get a time to attend that wound because someone's firing and we're blocking the darts that are coming at us. And now what? We have yet another wound.
And yet another wound that you have no one to tend to. And we're both single. I'm assuming you're single. Yeah. We're both single. So we're married people have this outlet.
Yeah.
We don't have an outlet.
No outlet.
So people, if even your friends don't want to hear you complaining every day.
True story.
Yeah. So you kind of hold it in.
Yeah.
And then it gets suppressed.
Yeah.
And then you get sick.
Right. Or this happens as well. You have the wound, it hurts. You get another wound, it hurts. Someone else is throwing darts at you and now you lash out.
Right. Or somebody pouring salt in it, right?
Yeah. And then you lash out. And by lash out, I mean, you're like, oh my eye, it hurts. Like, wait, stop, this hurts. Don't shoot at me. Don't, whatever. Oh, well, they're angry. Do you not see me bleed? Mayhaps I'm actually hurting.
I'm in pain. And you just poured salt into the wound. Yes, I'm angry.
But it's not the anger that you think it is, right? It's not, I'm just lashing out because I'm a person that is mad and has anger issues. Maybe someone didn't take the moment to recognize, oh, wait, there was a pain there that was either trying to be tended to, couldn't properly be tended to, and then it was either hit like that. Someone hits the broken leg, right? Someone pours salt in the open wound, pour alcohol, peroxide, whatever, in the open wound, and you react.
Listen, you have a dog. If your dog is injured and you touch the injury, what happens?
He is going to bite me.
Correct.
With all the love that he has for me, and you have seen.
Exactly.
So I cannot now call him an angry, vicious dog.
Right. He protected his wound. Don't, no more. Stop. Don't touch it. It hurts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, girl, this has been a really good conversation. I can't wait for part deuce. next week where we get deeper in our series, our 3-part series. So anything you want to last parting words you want to leave for the people?
I think the last parting words I want to leave for the people is be true to your feelings. If you don't have someone to talk to that you're close to that you can be vulnerable with, I found for me personally, journaling helps, right? So I write out what I'm expressing, what I'm feeling, what I'm dealing with, so that I don't keep it bottled up. And that's been very therapeutic for me. So I recommend that for people who don't have another outlet. And by all means, mental health is health. Don't allow people to put a negative stigma on that. If you need to talk to someone, please talk to someone.
Listen, it has been great sharing this moment with my girl, as well as dropping this episode for you as our listeners. We hope that you listen in as well as share if you found this helpful. And as always, I see you because I am you.
You have just listened to the Girl Talk podcast with your host, Melissa Ann. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play. Until next time, remember, I see you because I am you.